While there have been plenty of horror-esque games on the Switch, I'll happily admit that the majority of them have been pretty awful. Whether the issue is a lack of depth past jump scares, mechanical nightmares, or sometimes games that simply feel thoroughly broken, there has been quite the variety of mishaps to be experienced within that subgenre. Anglerfish, thankfully, feels like it was at least designed with some thought and care, creating a very unusual and at times mildly action-oriented trip through a strange and often lethal world, where you learn painful lessons on what not to do one death at a time. Starting with the positives, I'm just not quite sure how to describe the experience. Part adventure, part shooting action, and part just plain out of its mind. It's an odd mix of elements for sure. While it begins with what feels like there could be a coherent story, any notion of that idea is quickly dashed. Nope, this is just going to be a string of weirdness, often morbid humor, and witnessing an impressive number of ways for your character to meet his demise in a spectacular fashion. And at that point, who really needs a story anyway? As can often be the case with games of this sort, the execution of the controls and some of the game's rules are just wonky enough in spots that it can absolutely be a bit frustrating. Dying the fifth time down a corridor because you didn't quite line up your shot, or getting impaled because the movement is just loose enough that quickly trying to maneuver through a tight spot can be looked at as things that just happen. That said, when it feels like the controls are letting you down a little, it's a bummer. Then, getting out of the realm of the many ways you'll die, there's also the fact that at times it's a bit baffling what you're even meant to be doing, which can pull you out of the experience as well. The make or break with Anglerfish is really what you're coming to it for. If you're down for a great game that just happens to have some scares and fun, this really doesn't cut it. If, however, you're mostly seeking out something a bit surprising, unsettling, and thoroughly odd, it may be a great fit. It's hardly perfect, but it does seem to be thoroughly in tune with what it wants to be and deliver, and I can respect that. Overall, my final score for the game ended up being a 7.6. And if you're interested in picking it up, it's currently available on the Switch eShop for $9.99. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this review. And if you'd like more information or ideas of indie games worth checking out on Switch, be sure to click on the link provided in the description. Until next time.